So one most important thing that all of you should take care of is it's not a matter of understanding the answer to the same, rather you should be going through all the options as well.
In order to revise your things before your exam, like I revised at least 4 times. Like 4 times is my minimum which I revised before my prelims examination. For that, notes are very essential, very important to have handy. So we should also develop the kind of logic and that elimination technique so that it will help us in solving the question. Good evening, everybody. So as you know, I am Aniket. So I just want to share that what led me to not succeed in the 2022 and 2023 prelims attempt. First and foremost, I would like to say that I did not have the short notes, the smaller notes that should be made out of your the standard and static books. Secondly, I was not able to practice quite a lot question papers, especially the previous year question papers. I have analyzed those question papers thoroughly. I think not on the basis of topic wise, rather I revised it and analyzed all the questions, like the year wise questions are there till 2009. And I have revised them 2 to 3 times. All the 4 questions are also were also being seen by me. I analyzed. I was able to understand like what is the nature of all those questions, why the examiner has put that question. So I developed that aptitude after practicing so many questions. So that was the turning point that led me to jump from my 50s, 60s to 100 plus, and that's what we are going to study, the elimination tricks, the logic, how we'll able to solve those questions.
Yeah, so as Aniket was saying, so focusing on PYQs is one of the most important things that all of you should do. As Aniket said that in his first 2 attempts, he actually did not focus too much on the PYQs, but after that, we were talking a bit, and he said that when you actually look into the PYQs, you can see that significant number of questions are repeating. Right. That is why the first and foremost advice that me and Aniket wants to give you guys is that you need to significantly do the PYQs at least 10 years. Right, Aniket? I mean, you have solved from 1997, but at least 10 years, all of you should do the same. Okay. So, yeah. So why you need to do the same? Because PYQs and content usually repeats. So as Aniket have done the same, all of you should go through the last 10 years of PYQs and make the content for the same. Could you elaborate a bit on the questions that you can?
Yes, sir. So similar question like in 2019, this on 21st June, that is the summer solstice. The same kind of question was being repeated in 2022. But if we analyze the options like A, B, C, D, so we'll able to understand like it's a summer solstice. We will also revise the winter solstice, spring equinox, and similarly autumn equinox. So we should be having a broader horizon on these kind of topics. So that is how you analyze the questions which are being asked. Like you are also covering the periphery and outer areas of the question so that it may be asked in a later years.
So it's not only about analyzing the correct answer, it's about analyzing all the options as well given by UPSC.
Yes.
Right? Yeah, wonderful. I guess in this question as well, UPSC have did the same, right? In 2021, yes. UPSC have asked about polyethylene terephthalate. Even though in this question, polycarbonate was the answer, but what did UPSC do? In the subsequent year, UPSC have asked about one of the option, which is the polyethylene terephthalate. So one most important thing that all of you should take care of is, it's not a matter of understanding the answer to the same, rather you should be going through all the options as well, right?
Right.
Yeah.
On a similar basis, sir, this is the question also related to fish, because fish, insects, ants. So these kind of options UPSC usually repeats. So if we have a proper mapping or understanding of about bluefin mahseer, so we should be able to understand like golden mahseer is not a bird, it's a fish. And the mapping also covers here like Kaveri River, Chambal River, Eastern Ghats. So we are able to understand the mapping areas also. So we can cover the geography as well as environment also similarly by analyzing the question.
Yeah, wonderful. So here as well, in case of history questions, you can see here, the same question was repeated here. In 2021, UPSC asked about, UPSC have said that Iltutmish was one of the first Mongol rulers who invaded India. And in the same 2022, UPSC was asked about the first Mongol invasion happened during the reign of Jalaluddin Khilji. Now, in 2021, UPSC in itself is saying that Genghis Khan came to India first, and in 2022, UPSC have said in a different manner, saying that Jalaluddin Khilji, during the period of Jalaluddin Khilji, the first Mongol invasion happened. Now, if you look at the same, you can see significant number of questions repeating, right? Banks per bureau got repeated in 2022. Now, this is one of the most funny questions I want to say here. In 2021, you can see here that the Central Groundwater Authority was formed under the Environment Protection Act. Now, the exact statement you can see here in 2022, it got repeated, right? Which of the following has been constituted under the Environment Protection Act of 1986? And the answer was Central Groundwater Authority. Now, we won't be going through all the questions here. Catalonia, as all of you know, UPSC again got repeated in 2022. Undertook coalition got repeated once again. Chandragituga got repeated in 2024. Mahua got repeated in 2024. Red Sanders got repeated in 2024. Sahel region got repeated. Even when we compare to the 2025 as well, you can see here, UPSC asked about the exact fact about the month of January regarding the isotherms, and the same got repeated in 2025, right? UPSC asked about 2024 pay Andes Mountains. The exact question got repeated. Andes Mountains passed through how many of the above countries? UPSC asked about, now here, this is a beautiful question here. As you can see here, in 2024, UPSC asked about how many of the trees are actually native to India. So you will be learning that which of the crops are introduced by, I mean, how many of the products here are native to India. Now you will know that when you read about the same, you will know that they were introduced by either British, French, or any of the colonial powers. Now the exact same question that UPSC asked in 2025 as well, as you can hear. See here, papaya was introduced by which of the following? Right. Petroleum National Regulatory Body, UPSC have introduced the same. Arigata, one of the probably easiest questions here in 2025. State government and the mineral power, UPSC have repeated the same. Self-respect movement, period, UPSC again repeated in 2025. So this is exactly why. Now, Aniket, I was actually fascinated by the notes that you made for all the examples and everything. Could you talk a bit about the same as well?
Yes, sir. In order to revise the your things before your exam, like I revised at least 4 times. Like 4 times is my minimum, which I revised before my prelims examination. For that, notes are very essential, very important to have handy. Like these are my notes that I made out of the Laxmikanth, as well as whatever I have taken from the test series or the previous year questions as well. So these are very crisp, very short notes. I compressed entire Laxmikanth or a polity within 70-80 pages. So that's how you are able to revise. Like I can revise it in within 2 to 3 days, like 70-80 pages. And then when I go for the third or the fourth revision, I can revise it within the 5 or 6 hours. So that is what very essential. It will help you in your longer run. And that's what I did, sir. Like I always, because after analyzing so many previous year question, I was able to understand like which part of the chapter or which part of the topic is very important, and I made the notes out of that only. So that, and also which part of the topics I am not able to remember for a longer period of time. For those things, I always made the notes. So that, as you can see.
Great. Yeah. So, and one more thing that all of you, I want to add on here. You don't need to make notes for all the current affairs questions. Let's say, for example, in 2025, there was a question such as nature restoration law. Now, UPSC won't be repeating the current affairs questions. Rather, UPSC have this habit of repeating the evergreen questions. Now, what do you mean by evergreen? Evergreen means this topic have relevance in 2026 as well. The same, I mean, the alligator question. That is not a current affairs question, right? Even the power of state government to make laws, even the period, question, that is not bound by a time period, right? So you don't need to make a question, you don't need to make content for each and every question out there. Rather, if you feel that this question has the tendency to get repeated in 2026, that means that if the topic is evergreen, it is not bounded by any particular year or any particular time period. That is what you need to make the notes. Now, one question that all of you might be having that, so we only have close to 95 days left for prelims. Do I have the time to make notes? Right. Aniket was saying that he's actually started preparing notes like after his second attempt.
Yes, sir.
So he was very prepared for the same. But Abhi, in my opinion, you should not go for making notes. Rather, you can go for any institute material. Okay, because already the institutes have made the institute all this material for you, and you don't need to make your own notes for the fact that you don't have time for the same. That is exactly what I want to say here. As all of you know, we at Civilsdaily have made the flash notes, right? So flash notes also comes to your rescue for your 2026 attempts. So here, as you can see here, we have provided all the PYQs, right? So on the left-hand side, you can see all the PYQs provided by us. On the right-hand side, on the basis of the questions asked by UPSC, we have provided the analysis of the question. Let's say, for example, in 2025, 2024, UPSC have asked about which of the following sequence is correct, Gagra, Gomti, Ganda, Kosi. So on the basis of that, what do we understand? We need to learn about the left bank tributaries of Ganga, right bank tributaries of Ganga, left bank tributaries of Indus, and the left bank and right bank tributaries of Brahmaputra, right? All the major Himalayan rivers. So on the basis of that, when we analyze the same, we provide you the content with respect to all of this. So all the questions asked by UPC, on the basis of that, you will have an analysis of the same. On the basis of that, we will provide you the PYQ content. Okay. So here, waterfalls, region, river. Now, what will be provided in the flash notes? In the flash notes, we will be providing you all the major waterfalls out there and the rivers and the region where they are located. So what I'm saying is, you don't have the time and you don't have this to make your own notes. You can definitely go for our flash notes, which is completely factual check, and we are anticipating a lot of questions from the flash notes for 2026 as well. Okay. So these are basically the flash notes. So this is one thing that all of you should do. Go through the last 10 years of PYQ content, and on the basis of that, analyze how UPSC repeats the options, repeats the content, and therefore you have to prepare on the same. Now, Aniket, one more question that I want to ask you. When we actually go through the PYQs, is it only about learning the content, or it's much more than learning the content when we analyze the PYQs?
Yes, sir. Sir, you are exactly true. Like, we should not be only focusing on the knowledge, because that is limitless. And we should also be focusing on the aptitude development of solving the questions. The elimination tricks and techniques come to our rescue. Secondly, sir, the logic which we develop, like sometimes the ministry are always given wrong. Sometimes the data are also, we should be having a pause or caution while seeing while we see the data in any of the statement. So we should also develop the kind of logic and that elimination technique, so that it will help us in solving the question. So suppose as we can see, sir, in the next slide, like there are 60 questions. If we are able to solve correctly, then we are able to go for 120 marks, right? But that is not happening in a natural case. So we need to attempt more. I used to attempt approx 90, more than 90 question. Like in 2025, I attempted 95, close to 95. So it depends upon your knowledge, it depends upon your logic, and how you can amalgamate both the things together, and you are able to have the right answers. So it also depends upon the practice of the questions which you have to do. So that is there, sir.
So I would like to agree to what Aniket has said here, because when you actually look into the PYQs, you will exactly get a pattern with respect to all the questions, right? Let's say, for example, Aniket here has talked about the database question, right? Now, in my experience, let me tell you that when you actually analyze all the PYQs from the last 10 years, you will understand that there is a significant pattern with respect to when a data question is asked. Now, what is the pattern here? Either UPC will introduce an addition of 0, or else what UPC do is UPC will half the same. For example, there was a question with respect to critical water districts. Now, the answer was 18%. Sorry, the answer was 36% of our districts are critically water deficit, and UPC gave 18%. And in 2022, there was a question that India exports close to 3.2% of Indian exports constitute to close to 3.62% of global exports. Now, the correct answer was 1.6, right? And in 2014, there was a question there about the National Infrastructure Investment Fund, and UPSC gave that close to 4 lakh is the corpus of National Infrastructure Institution Fund, but the correct answer was only 40,000. And in 2018, UPSC asked a question that, according to Paris Agreement, $1,000 billion are to be accumulated by all the nations. Rather, the answer was only $100 billion. So always for everything, okay, there is no randomness in UPSC. It's actually easy to predict UPSC on how the way they think if you analyze the patterns regarding this. And that's exactly Aniket has done in his past two attempts as well. Yeah. And so therefore, one thing that all of you should understand is there is a lot of pattern with respect to UPSC. And more than pattern, you will be, whenever you see a question, if you have the experience regarding the same, you will be able to predict where UPSC is going wrong. Right, as Aniket has pointed out. I mean, in the last 10 years, almost all the chronology, I mean, all the contemporary based questions have been wrong. UPSC asked about Akbar and one Guru, Sikh Guru. UPSC asked about Devaraya second and the Vasco da Gama. UPSC asked about Vasco da Gama and Krishna Devaraya. And yeah, so therefore, contemporary questions, when you do the same, it might be wrong. Ministries UPSC usually have the tendency of making it wrong, even though UPSC have changed the pattern in 2025. Locations, endemic in 2021, UPSC asked that whether palm oil is endemic to South Asia. It was wrong. In the same 2021, UPSC asked about the moringa is endemic to South Asia. It was not endemic to South Asia. And when India is a member of these questions, UPSC have this tendency of introducing very extreme words such as India was a founding member, India was instrumental in the formation of, right? So all these words, you will only understand, you will be able to predict on how and why UPSC introduces each and every words. And that's actually, in my opinion, my strength as well. I mean, I have cleared prelims four times consecutively. And whenever UPSC asks a question, I know that UPSC will counterweigh. So that is one thing that Aniket has also mastered.
Yes.
So this is what, could you elaborate the same, Aniket, on what you have done here?
Yes. Sir, on the similar pattern, like as you can see that I used to underline each and every line of the question, like wherever I feel that this can be a trap word, like drastically related to questions related to like ratification or the India is member or not. So whatever I have analyzed my aptitude from the previous year questions, I used to have a pause while solving the question. And in order to solve the question paper, I always followed like those questions which I know 100%. I used to solve them in a one go. Second, I'll go for the 50-50. And then I'll go for where I do not know about the three options and I know about the fourth option. So in this pattern, I used to solve the questions. And also I used to mark like whether it's a logical based question, whether it's a knowledge based question. That's how I used to solve the questions.
So all the logical questions that you kept for the second round, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So one more thing, all of you what you should do is you need to always underline and circle. Okay. Now there are three things that you need to underline and circle always. One is the general and the extreme words. Have UPSC introduce the word can, may, all the generalizing words and all the extreme words such as primarily, mainly, significantly, all, every, none. Because all the statements asked by UPSC are neutral in nature. Everything is neutral. Now, when the generalizing word comes, can, may, some, all these words, it makes a statement positive or correct. And when all the extreme words come, primarily, mainly, significantly, all, every, and everything, it makes a statement positive, negative. So this is what you have to always look for. And one more thing is the facts, because facts is what we will be countering, right? So always circle the facts. And one more thing that all of you should never miss is whether the statement is asking, whether the question is asking about it's correct or incorrect. So these are the three different things that all of you should underline and circle. Now, one more thing you might be thinking is that Aniket has done a significant amount of research for him to master the aptitude and score 110 plus. Now, do you have time regarding the same? Right. Because we hardly have 90 something days left. And all of you must be racing against time for you to finish the content. Now, that is exactly the reason why we actually offer the solution for the same as well, in my opinion. Now, this is actually done by me in Civilsdaily. So always understand that, let's say if you're under the range of maybe 60 to 70 now, or let's say 65 to 70 now how do I score 95 and 100? It's not only about putting in significant amount of effort, learning more content, revising more content, learning about more sources, multiplying books. No. The most important thing that you have to do is to improve your aptitude. Because I always believe that UPSC is mostly a layman's paper, right? It's not about something very technical. It's about having this good aptitude skill for you to identify where the trap is. Why did UPSC introduce each and every option? So this is what you have to master, right? And that is exactly why we have this course for you. And before we proceed, you have to analyze each and every word, right? So why did UPSC introduce the word pump storage hydropower? Now, when you understand that, okay, fine, this is not something very factual. UPSC is testing my logic here. When you think like that, you split the words pumped storage hydropower. So now you try to frame a meaning in your mind. What will be pumped storage hydropower? The water is pumped, it is stored somewhere, and the stored water is actually used for hydropower purposes or the electricity generation in the later phases, right? Now, when you have that meaning, you will be able to get the answer long and duration energy storage, right? Aerial metagenomics, you might think that this is something very factual in nature, but when you split the words, it will be aerial, meta, and genomics. Aerial can be related to air, genomics can be related to DNA, and that's the reason why A will be the answer here. Always you need to think like that. That's what developing the aptitude means. Why did UPSC introduce the word several folds here? Why did UPSC introduce the word mainly here? This is exactly what in our logical and elimination course we will be teaching you, right? So as most of you know, we have this logical elimination course. We have this 1 month logical elimination course known as the dominant elimination course. Here, after watching this, let me tell you, these are live and recorded watches. So Abhi, we are doing the 2020 PYQ, but you don't need to worry. We have the recorded, we are offering the recorded videos as well for the same. If you join the same, let me tell you, you will be able to clear-cut identify. You will be able to do a shortcut on Aniket, what he have done in these past 2 years, right? So you'll be able to understand why UPSC introduces each and every words, the option analysis, all the different techniques of logical elimination, such as identifying the extreme words, multiple facts, grouping, word deconstruction, and everything. Also, you will be able to identify how much questions you have to attempt and how you have to manage your risk, right? So this will be 5 foundation lectures of 10 hours each, wherein I'll be detailing teaching you how you have to think with respect to single statement question come, multiple statement questions come, and all the different techniques that you have to do with respect to the same. After that, we'll be solving the PYQs from 2025 to 2015 as well. And also the most important thing is the practice of 100 logical questions, wherein you will be able to understand whether you have understood this. After watching all the lectures of PYQ and everything, you will be able to understand whether you have understood the same, right? Yeah. So these are the PYQ worksheets. 25 questions in each of the worksheet. You will be able to understand where you're going wrong or how you have to think with respect to the same. Okay. So this will be the process, everyone. If you master the same, you will have that confidence not to face books. Now, if I ask Aniket, yes, are you scared of attending the 2027 prelims, 2026 prelims? Right. For the fact that I believe if you master the PYQ language, if you have that aptitude skill, then even if, I am confident that even if I write tomorrow prelims, I will be able to clear, right? So mastering the aptitude is the most important thing that all of you should work upon. That is why, just think about it. We are spending close to 8 to 10 hours every day on focusing on the content. But UPSC asks close to 30 to 35 questions which can be solved logically. So you're missing out on everything, right? So that is why you have to master the elimination process as well. Because that will give you that confidence that even if UPSC throws anything at me, I will be able to solve the same. And always remember, the margin of error close to like 10,000 students, 15,000 students will be in the range of 80 to 90. That is where you have to be, you have to stand out of that crowd. Now, how will you stand out? Is it only with respect to the content that you can stand out? No. Most of us are reading the same NCRTs. Most of us are reading the same PT 365 and everything. So how do you stand out? How do you get a margin? How do you get an edge from the other candidates out there? Who will be in the range of like 80 to 90? This will be, in my opinion, through mastering the aptitude. Right. Okay. So Aniket, moving on to the final thing. I mean, we'll be taking all the questions later.
Yes, sir.
You also told me that in your first 2 attempts, you hardly did any questions.
Yes,
You were
sir.
spending most of your time in revising things. You have said that you have revised Laxmikanth to 10 times, but you never bothered to attempt significant number of questions. You are mostly in your revision mode.
Yes, sir.
Than solving the questions. Now, could you tell me what change in your approach that you did from the revision method to solving questions?
Yes, sir.
Or what did you do the same?
So, sir, I started solving the questions. Like I used to go for the test series, and I just brought it from the market, and then I used to solve all those questions within the limited time period, and I used to analyze my mistakes, like which kind of questions I generally make wrong or right. So that was my method where I started improving my marks. Like I used to revise quite a particular topic, a particular subject, and then I used to give the test of those topics. So that's how, sir, I improved my score.
Now, could you tell me, like, what was the difference that it made after you started taking significant number of tests? Like, were you able to analyze where you're going wrong? Were you able to understand the micro themes that you're being wrong? So, what was the major difference that it made?
Yes, sir. So after solving the questions, I was also aware of the things like what kind of current affairs are being also in the news. Secondly, I was also able to understand like what I have learned in my previous year questions analysis and how am I able to apply in the new questions. Like the previous year questions are once you solve it, once you see it, you are able to remember it. But when you are forced to apply in the new sets of questions, there you are able to understand, okay, your logic is working and you are able to score good marks. So that's how, sir, I made a practice like this kind of aptitude or elimination logic I have learned here, and that's how I'm going to apply there in the new kind of questions. So I did, sir, like more than 10 to 12 10 to 20 sets of questions, full length test I used to give, and that's also.
Okay, so in your opinion, how many number of tests, I mean, the question papers should an aspirant attempt? Not the full test at least, as you said, pointed out, at least 15 to 20. So how many question papers, like 50 question papers, 100 question papers, how many question papers should an aspirant attempt?
Yes, sir. Sir, I believe that it depends upon the level of the preparation of the student, like in which range that person is coming. So if they are stuck within 40-50 range, so they should always go for the higher sets of the questions so that they will also be able to revise their micro themes, the repeated themes, the topics which the UPSC asks. And once they are able to breach the mark of 80, 90, then they can also move towards the full length test. So this is what I believe. It depends upon the range in which the person lies.
Okay, so there is no universal top to bottom approach here. It depends upon the student, right?
Yes, sir. But I believe that a person should always go for like the broader papers like polity. They should always go for the sectional test of 5 to 6, and the economy on the similar lines. The economy is there. So in this pattern, they can go for the tests.
Oh, wonderful. So one thing I want to point out to all the people who are listening is that you should always test yourself. For the fact that when you don't test yourself, you will always be in the belief that you know everything. But only when you test yourself, you will be able to understand that, okay, fine, this is a topic that I'm not sure. Okay, this is a topic which I'm comfortable in, right? So let's say, for example, in case of politics, you're reading Laxmikanth like 10 to 15 times. And what is the learning outcome of this? You're just learning what you already know, or just revising already you know. Are you able to understand this particular portion I'm weak, or this particular portion I'm strong? Or the other technique would be, let's say after you have revised Laxmikanth once, You take a 50 question paper or you take a 100 question paper test regarding parliament, regarding polity. And in that, you basically divide the number of questions on the basis of the topic. Let's say constitutional bodies पे 8 क्वेश्चन आ गया, citizenship पे 2 क्वेश्चन आ गया, parliament पे 15 questions आ गया. And in the 15 questions of parliament, if you're able to get like more than 10, you understood that, okay, fine, parliament पे I'm so good. But what if you're getting less than 10 for parliament? That means that you are very weak in parliament, right? Now, therefore, you understood that parliament पे मैं weak हूँ, so therefore I need to focus on the parliament. Now, that is why all of you should do is, it's not a matter, I mean, revising is always good. But revision है ना, once reading, second reading तो भी आप revise कर सकते हैं. Like from the third reading, we should be mostly focusing on the micro themes only, wherein UPSC was significant number of questions. And you should be mostly doing, as Aniket has pointed out here, you should be mostly going for the sectional test, wherein you will understand where you're going wrong. And after which, you need to revise yourself. Yeah. So this is what all of you should be doing, and that is also one more thing that dominant prelims, as all of you know, we at Civilsdaily have the test series known as the dominant prelims. That is exactly what we are trying to replicate here. So we have this 50 question test every day. So as you can see here, this is the schedule for the history test which is coming up. We have the medieval history for 24th Feb and 25th Feb. We have the art and culture for the 26th and 27th Feb. And after which we will be moving on to modern history, science and technology, and everywhere. Our daily test will go till March of 16. So you need to at least do a 50 question test on a daily basis. I mean, the schedule should be, you study a particular subject. After that, you do a 50 question test. You will understand where you're going wrong, or which is your important area, or which is your less, where you're very weak, and on which you need to learn that particular thing or revise that particular thing. That is exactly the reason why doing at least a 50 questions on a daily basis is something very important, and all of you should follow the same as well. Right? So after which we will be having our revision test followed by the full test regarding the same. So three most important things Aniket have taught us here is, the first and the foremost thing, you need to solve PYQs. So you need to analyze the PYQs, make notes for the options, especially for 2025, I believe, yes, Aniket?
Yes.
For the 2026 attempt.
Right, sir.
If you don't have time for the same, you can refer to our flash notes. Second most important thing is about improving your elimination, because if you have that aptitude skill, you will have that 100% confidence. Because if you analyze the PYQs, you will be able to understand the shape better. Close to 38 questions in 2025 could have been solved through logic. So that is the most important thing. Master the elimination along with the content. Always content is the king, but that doesn't mean that you need to downgrade the elimination techniques, because elimination techniques, maybe we can call it as a queen.